Good evening. Welcome to WSBI, your resource for success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. And now, for your host, Kimberly McLemore.
All right, good evening and welcome to WSBI, your Resource for Success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. I am your host, Kimberly McLemore. Welcome to another night of sharing. With us we have Qiana Williams, CEO of Goddess Media NYC and host of Voice of the People Radio. Kiana is a fashion and entertainment professional, writer, and digital strategist. Her company, Goddess Media, specializes in PR amenities, digital campaigns, event production, and branding. Kiana is deeply rooted in advocacy and working with underprivileged youth. As a child abuse survivor, she understands how a child's inability to deal with the environment around them may result in reckless and even criminal behavior. Her goal is to inspire children and empower young women to understand their value and self-worth, the importance of pursuing their dreams, and how to work against the odds that have been cast against them. So without further ado, let's welcome to my platform, Miss Qiana Williams. Hello, Kiana.
Hi, Kimberly. Thank you for having me. It is such a great pleasure to be here tonight.
Well, I'm excited. I just been thinking about this for a while now, and we have so much to talk about and so much to share this evening with our listening audience. But before we do that, just tell the listeners just a little bit more about yourself besides what I have read to them, and tell us what you got going on in your world.
Okay, well, my name is Qiana Williams. As you said, I am the owner of Goddess Media and the founder of host of VPR Radio, which is Voice of the People Radio. We are an online broadcast and podcast that happens now every Thursday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our platform is really focused on bringing light to independent artists and small businesses, those that are really setting up to make a difference. And that's really how I try my best to live my life, is to be impactful in a positive way in any capacity that I can, toward as many people as I can in my lifetime. So Goddess Media, my company, is really a PR and media-focused corporation, from digital campaigns to an actual press run or an event like the one that we're doing together. Kim, basically anything that's needed for branding and marketing, I provide those services.
All right. Yes. And we will be talking more about that event later on in the show, because I really want to just focus on you right now. So, tell the listeners what got you inspired to doing what you're doing. How did you get started into the media side of it, as far as with your business, and then, of course, getting into the VPR radio side?
Okay. Well, I got started some years ago, and it was really a shift according to the economy and how everything was really crumbling. I had a pretty executive position in the corporate world in fashion, and I was really making my way up the ranks pretty quickly. Unfortunately, once the fashion industry and many other industries around it crumbled, a lot of us suffered a kick in the pants. So, taking a hit as I did financially with the salary and everything, I really started trying to figure out what I wanted to do that I was passionate about. Because as much as I love fashion, I was working in fashion, but I wasn't working in the capacity that I wanted. I was doing quality control, product development. All of that stuff is great. It works your brain. But I could not get invited to a fashion show to save my life, which is hilarious, because now every single fashion week, in fact, I just finished setting up my calendar for a bunch of shows that I'm going to. So once I made this shift that was kind of forced, but I figured out, what I wanted to do, I got back into journalism, which was interesting because it was the first thing that I was pursuing before fashion. And doors really just started flying open. And that led me to understanding that I was on the right path, that I was in the right industry, which was a cross between like fashion, entertainment, music, and things have just been spiraling in a good way ever since.
Wow. But what amazes me is how we all have to kind of go through something in order to realize who we are, right? And even though you and many other people definitely went through the process of, a lot of people lost their jobs when we had the downfall and the crash, within the system and the government, outside the government, everything was happening at the same time. But what I think amazes me about people is that we generally know how to bounce back. But a lot of times we walk away from what we're good at, what we know we're good at, what we're doing. We have to find that passion again. And that's what you did in order to survive. And the thing that I love about people like you is that you didn't walk back into the corporate arena. You decided, enough was enough.
Right. I mean, not to say, the temptation has not come my way. And I've definitely had, adversity. When you're an entrepreneur, a lot of people don't even understand what that means, especially coming from where I came from. They're like, well, why don't you, what? You don't have a regular job? You're an entrepreneur? Sometimes people don't look at it as if it's something real. But that's according to how you treat your business. If your business is really a business, you have it set up accordingly, and you're disciplined and you work as a business and a corporation. Eventually, those people are going to respect it. So yeah, it's definitely been a challenge, to say the least, because coming from that corporate structure, it does make you want to go back in. But you also realize that even with the security and everything that's there, it takes away from your passion, writing music, being creative, helping others to build their brand and helping others to shine. I wasn't able to do that. I was sitting in an office just typing to all my friends in China and across Asia and telling them what they could ship and what they couldn't ship and how to fix it they had problems with. And essentially, that's not where I was supposed to be, and that's why I'm not there now. So it's a blessing. It's definitely a huge challenge every single day, but it's a blessing for sure.
Right. Because, obviously we know that when you're in the corporate arena, it's not about our dreams. It's about living their dreams and making sure that their dreams are successful, being in that arena. And that's a lot of times what we do have a tendency to forget. But then also on the other side of that is that most people don't realize that just even in your situation and all of our situation as entrepreneurs or business owners, we still depend on people to be successful. And so it's that constant balance of trying to get everything we want, like I said, want to live in your passion, but also you want to be respected. And no matter what entity that you're in, whether you're working in the corporate arena or not. And I think, you talked a little bit just here about some of the challenges, but talk a little bit more about what are those challenges that you face with just people daily not respecting and understanding that, like you said, you are a business. You're not just a business. You are a CEO of your own company. Talk a little about some of those struggles.
Ooh, well, there's plenty. We could start with the fact that I'm a woman and I work in a male-dominated industry and a male-dominated genre of music, which is hip hop. So just being taken seriously can be a challenge. But I think especially in this hip hop industry, the way that women are portrayed and the way that a lot of women do conduct themselves is really the reaction that you will get. I have been one of the women at, an MBA party or whatever, and you can be surrounded by women that are obviously after the men for their money, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm always the one sitting with the executives and the managers. So there's a level of respect that you have to carry yourself with. And I've always been that way. You may not like me, but you'll have to respect me. So earning that respect is definitely probably the biggest challenge. Being a woman, being a young woman in a male-dominated field. And sometimes it's frustrating when you feel like you want to be able to say something, but it probably would not leave a good impression. So even, when someone tries to come for you, or if someone is trying to question your authority, you have to kind of stop and step back, because now I'm a brand. Everything I say is recorded and can be monitored for further use. So whereas in the corporate world, I could really say whatever I wanted to and then deal with my boss afterwards. Now, and I never had a problem with that. But now I definitely have to be careful in what I say and how I react, because I realize that I'm representing myself. I'm representative of a brand. And that's how I want people to be able to view me. Exactly.
And like you said, everything, as women, we feel we're already, playing against the grain, as I say sometimes, where, like I said, we always had to prove ourselves. But when you're in a male-dominant arena, it's even double that. And then just, other people in general not truly understanding, or like I said, taking you serious as a business owner. Even the field that I'm in the corporate arena, I am one of the only females that runs a full engineering staff and team. And it's that constant balance of, take me seriously, and, once people get past their silliness of how you look or, oh, you are intelligent, then, they can look at the other side of you. Like I said, this is all about business. And so I definitely understand. And then, of course, being on the other side as an author and owning own businesses, I think the biggest challenges that I see is just in general that people want things for nothing. They don't understand that you are still making a living. This is beyond just, hey, I have a business, and you think that I'm just supposed to give it to you for free because what? Because you think I owe you that? So.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the biggest, but that's why for the most part, I stay away from working with like personal clientele, because there's usually some sort of ulterior motive. Like you said, people do want something for nothing. And, you're not going to go into a grocery store and try to haggle your way into your cart full of groceries. You're going to pay full price. You're going to do it happily because you know that you need it. And I know that as a brand, you've been approached the same way where people are like, what kind of discount I get? Or, can we barter? And there is a point of bartering services that is essential in any business, any genre that you're working in, because your network is your net worth. So there may be times where you barter services off with someone else, but that's not going to be the case more often than not because, I have children to feed, I have a household to run. So yes, we definitely need to be taken seriously as business women, not just, women in business.
Business, exactly. Keyword. I love that. Love that. So let's kind of go backwards a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about your childhood. You are a child abuse survivor. We have a heart together here where we when we first met, and most people don't know, we've known each other for a little over a year. And me and you immediately connected. And we didn't know a whole lot of each other at the point because I was introduced to you through another entity. So, but I had the opportunity to be on your show, which I thought was fabulous and fun. And I could not wait to get the opportunity to work with you again. But the thing that stood out the most that we talked about in the short period of time that we met was the fact that we talked about abuse. For most people don't know, and those who do know, that I, as they call me, is a domestic abuse survivor, and you are a child abuse survivor. Talk about some of your experiences and how it's affected you then, but how you have changed, the things that are going on in your life and what you've changed and what you are dealing with young children today to help them work through some of their situations in life.
Well, definitely my childhood was a very difficult one. It's interesting because my children are so in tune with me. Like today, my 8-year-old said to me, because she asked me a lot about my childhood, she said, I'm so happy that you're the mom that you are. She said, because you could have been really mean. And I was like, you know what? You're right. I could have been really mean. It's unfortunate when we grow up in circumstances that are, adverse for us because we can't control them. And for me, I think seeing a lot of my mother's behaviors and seeing her hostility and her violence, even though I was encompassed in that, I had a lot of fights growing up. I was surrounded by violence in a lot of ways, but that was not something that I was drawn to. It was just kind of like, okay, if violence is the way we have to settle it, then so be it. But I think I've always had like such a soft heart and such a soul for like the underdogs and the people that are misrepresented or misunderstood. So as I got older, I became a mother, started having children of my own. Obviously, all of my childhood affected me and my parenting because it was essential for me not to repeat those same mistakes. It was essential for me to get to know my children and understand them as human beings and not just as my children, do as I say, not as I do. And I think especially in the environment and the society that we are living in now, it is so important to get through to these children because we're seeing so much hostility, so much violence and anger. And a lot of it is the trickle down effect from experiences like what I experienced I see it every day. I'm in New York City. You're in all types of environments. One type of environment melds right into the next. And the way that some people speak to their children and treat their children is just, it's horrifying, and I was one of those children, and it breaks my heart every time I see it. But I know that those children that are being broken down, they can become the next victim. They can become the next victimizer, the next abuser. They can become the next person that's in jail or the next person that's dead because they're making those bad decisions, becoming a product of their environment. So for me, as much as I can, whether it's going into a school, I used to do some volunteer work with ACS until they changed hands with their administration. But I try to get to kids as often as I possible, especially young girls, to teach them self-value and self-worth. I know that was something that was completely missing in my childhood. It's something I still struggle with now. But it's such an important factor raising young women and raising young men that they understand their self-worth and their self-esteem. So I would say that that's probably the biggest positive change that I've been experiencing after everything that I went through as a child. Because to be honest, it actually continued into adulthood. I've always had a very, very crazy, estranged, volatile type of situation with my mother. And no matter how much I tried to build that relationship, I came to the realization a few years ago that it was impossible. There is something hidden down in her that has not been resolved, and that she just can't get past. And I think it just makes me look at myself that much more clearly and make sure I have that self-reflection, because when you don't heal from those traumas that you have experienced as a child, it does become very difficult. It becomes very difficult just to make it. To be honest with you, you can always be questioning yourself, always wondering what people are thinking of you. There were a lot of stigmas and stuff that were thrown around in my house. And then on top of all of that, my mother was like a studying Jehovah's Witness. So we had very strong and strict religious rules that were enforced in the house as well. So it was a lot. And it becomes a lot to really be able to break away from and live freely and be able to teach the people around you to appreciate who you are and love yourself first above all else, because those things that you can't control and those people that you can't control will always be there. However, what you can control is what you allow around you and how you feel about yourself and what you put out into the universe. Good,
exactly.
Bad. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was just sitting here thinking as you were talking that, what amazes me is that even though, you've had these conversations with your children, is that your daughter pointed out something that was very, very valuable, and understanding that, hey, you could have been that same person that you had seen as yourself as a child, as an adult, and I think the hard part about it is that when you have children go through this, children didn't ask to be brought here. Nobody's asked to be brought here in this world and then having to be put into those environments, having to deal with all this strangeness and all this inability of trying to understand, well, why are you taking your anger out on me? Why are you doing these things to me? And like you said, a big portion of the time is because that individual has not been able to recognize what their problem is, and what that problem is, they have not dealt with it. So the person that's always the closest to them is the person they're always going to take it out on. And that's with anybody, whether it's you're in a job, whether it's your boyfriend or husband or a friend, usually it's the people that you love or the ones that you care about, the ones that usually are abused the most. So, I definitely applaud you for recognizing the fact that you could not control that situation, and that your life and your dreams and pursuing who you wanted to be was much more valuable. And like I said, you had to know your self-worth. And I'm sure that you are definitely have your days, because we all want to be close to the people that we love, and then not being able to handle that, and figure out how can I communicate with this individual when they really don't want to be, communicate with me in return. So I definitely wanted to touch on that, because I know that you're an advocacy for underprivileged youth, and, and a big part of this is because of your background and the things that you have dealt with. Absolutely. So I just kind of dive back into the business world. So let's talk a little bit more about VPR radio. It like I say, you talked a little bit earlier about the fact that you like to deal with those underdogs. So talk a little bit more about your program. And I know you're coming back on air soon, so let's get into that a little bit.
Absolutely. So I'm super excited. I want to just take the time and shout out DJ FMI because he is the best partner that I could have asked for in this venture. I've been doing radio for a few years, but this is the first show that I ventured out and really started on my own. And I approached DJ FMI, and we have been rocking out ever since. So our platform, we only play independent music. So we have a lot of independent artists that send their music through. And that's really where my background in music is anyway, because some years ago I was putting on a lot of live productions for independent artists. And I really became close with various artists from around the country and even outside of the country, outside of the United States. So we have a very wide net of extremely, extremely talented individuals. And I think it's so imperative for us to use our platform to highlight them, because if you look at commercial radio, you hear the same thing over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. So whether you want to hear it or not, these are the artists that they're shoving down your throat. And I'm also about the messaging. A lot of our messaging that's being centered specifically toward our people is not so positive. So, and that's not the stuff that gets accepted commercially. So I'm like, hey, we'll take it. If it's good music, it's got a great message behind it. You're talented. You're doing something for the community. We want to hear from you. So we have, I can't even tell you how many songs. We have artists that send us hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of submissions every single month to get played on air. But we really do offer them that platform. And then we interview people like yourself, authors, doctors of the sciences. We've had lawyers. We've had various people in marketing and small businesses, chefs. You name it. If you are doing something great, you're making a difference, you're an entrepreneur, you're a brand, especially, a small local business. For VPR Radio, it is essential for us to build from within. And that's what we have really been establishing ourselves as, is a community-based program that is really structured to help those that are looking to be on a platform to expand their brand or their music, and will work with us the same way. Like you said, sometimes people want, something for nothing. So if we're promoting your music, we expect for you to promote our show. Sometimes I have artists that'll be like, "Oh, I sent you a song. Can you tell me if you got it? And then can you video it and tag me?" And I'm like, "What? I don't even know who you are." You know what I'm saying? I have 35 songs right now that I'm waiting through. So if you want to get that type of information back, promote our show, watch the show first of all, because you'll be able to hear your music for yourself, and then maybe we could work together on some like co-branding or promotion. But yeah, we definitely do get artists sometimes that get a little bit ahead of themselves. But I would say for the most part, people are very happy with the platform that we're offering, especially since it's independent, because a lot of independent artists don't necessarily get the opportunity to get their music on radio. Right. And we've just had so many great interviews. And we stay up 3-4 months in advance. So it's a true blessing. I feel like we are definitely living in our light, and we're where we need to be. And we started we're going to be on a new day. September 12th is our first date back. That's a Thursday. We'll be live 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So we're going to be more, really in the mix, not just on that primetime outlet, which I think is great because people can listen, in the car and everything. And it's really just help us to expand. I'm super excited. And shout out to Radio Free Brooklyn. That's our new platform.
All right. That is awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to hearing more about that on VPR Radio and listening in, because I do chime in on occasion. So yeah, you guys are absolutely doing your thing. So exciting. And yes, DJ FMI, you are absolutely amazing. And thank you for sharing on this platform, my show, about you coming up. So that was really nice of him to do that. I appreciate that. So yeah, so now let's talk a little bit more about some of the items that you have coming up. What do you got coming up? I know we'll talk about ours, but do you have anything else coming up?
I do. So actually tomorrow night I have a screening that's happening with a very good dear friend of mine who's also an actress and director. Her name is Alicia Joy Powell, and we will be doing a screening of a short film called Love in the Shadows, as well as episode 5 of Orange and the New Black, which she co-stars in as a probation officer. So I'm excited. We've completely sold out of that event, so there's no more space available. And we're thinking that we may even double at capacity, so it's likely we might have to do the showing twice. But it's exciting. I'm definitely excited about that event. I do have some social media business events that are going to be coming up, probably either around the date we're doing our show or sometime shortly after. But other than that, I'm doing this business course right now through Goldman Sachs called 10,000 Women. So that has been a shout out to Goldman Sachs. That has been so great for helping me to get my business to the next level. Like we were talking about, there's a difference between a woman in business and a businesswoman. When you're a businesswoman, you constantly educate yourself to make sure you're at the top of your game. So, that's where I am right now, making sure that I'm at the best and the top, so that I can educate accordingly and keep educating myself and becoming educated. And we have more events and whatnot coming up. And I'm working hard out here, Kim.
I know you are. I see you. I definitely see you. But that's the exciting part about, like I said, entrepreneurship is that, you have to have that get up and go every day. There is no, I'm going to stay in, because people kind of, when you're corporate world, we get dependent on a paycheck. We know we can, right? But even in that world, there is no guarantee. So, being out here, you have to be on your game 24/7. So you are doing a fabulous job to keep it up. You're doing your thing. I'm excited for you. So let's talk a couple seconds here about our amazing book signing, author book signing and networking event called the Sip and Sign. It's going to be in Manhattan, New York. I'm ecstatic because we talked about a year ago. Yeah. Ooh, we got to get together.
We did. And you wanted to do a book signing, and we kind of battered it around back and forth. So we're finally making it come to fruition. Mm-hmm. I'm super excited. So you guys, that's on September 28th. You can get your tickets. They're $20 online. They will be more at the door. So it is authorsipandsign.eventbrite.com. You can go and get your tickets. We're going to have 4 featured authors, right, Kim?
Yes.
Yeah. 4 featured authors. You can sell your books. You can do book signings. We'll be asking questions. There'll be some networking. So I would say anyone that is looking to get into the publishing industry, if you're writing a book, if you're thinking about writing a book, if you like to read, if you like to write, if you like to network, you like small businesses, or you just love great energy, I would say to come through to our event on September 28th, because it's going to be incredible. It really is.
It is. And we have all of our authors, our best-selling authors, some of them 2-time best-selling authors. So we have Becky Baldwin, who's a best-selling author. She will be there. Dr. Denise Moore, who's also the best-selling author. And then Tawala Anthony is a best-selling author. And then, of course, you will have myself, who I am a 2-time award-winning author. And I will be there. I will be giving out a copy of one of my free books, and it'll be signed. And so I'm excited about this because the first time I got the opportunity to go to New York and just be on your show to be interviewed, that was exciting. But now having the opportunity to actually work with you, like I said, it's just a moment that I've been waiting for more than a year. We are going to be located at Fairfield Inn and Suites in New York, Manhattan on Central Park. The address is 538 West 58th Street, New York, New York. And like Kiana said, that you get your tickets. If the sooner you get them, they're $20. If you coming to the door, they're going to be $25. But, there definitely will be some limited seating and so forth to come in and talk. So don't wait to the last minute. September.
Yeah, don't wait. Don't wait. It's like with this event, like sold out. It's done. And once it's done, we're out of space.
Exactly. Exactly. So you do not want to miss this opportunity to meet all these amazing authors, hear their stories, learn about what they're doing in their world. And, I know there's many authors out there in New York. Come and visit us. Come hang out, because we're more than happy to do another event, because I'm going to be all over doing events throughout the year, all these Sip and Signs. So come out and see us. Don't waste that day. And we're going to have free hors d'oeuvres available as well. And, come and just have a drink with us and come hang out and learn some things. We're excited about it. So it's our first event together. And like I said, it's coming up on Saturday, September 28th, and it's going to be from 5 to 8.
Yes.
Yes. So can't wait to have that opportunity to see you again, of course.
Me too.
So,
I'm excited.
yeah, I'm excited. So, all right. So why don't you tell the listeners, though, where they can get a hold of you if they're interested in being a guest on your show, or like you said, if they have on the VPR radio side, there's information they need to send to you. How can they get a hold of you?
Absolutely. So if you are an artist, or you are considering, or you'd like us to consider interviewing you for VPR Radio, you can send us an email at vpr.radio@gmail.com. Do bear in mind that we are booked up 3 to 4 months in advance. So if we do agree, we're probably going to be giving you a date that's 3 to 4 months away. And it's not shady. It's just we get a lot of bookings, and we're very blessed with that. So that's for VPR Radio, and you can also follow us at VPR_radio. That's across all platforms. And for myself, you can follow me at Kiana the Goddess, QianaTheGoddess, or you can find me at Goddess Media NYC, again on all social media platforms.
All right. Well, I want to say thank you so much for coming on the show this evening. Do you have any last words for the listeners?
Well, I just want to thank you, Kim. I mean, I think that you are a phenomenal woman, and you are such a positive individual. And it's been a real honor to not just meet you, but, interview on your show, be able to interview you and get to know so much about you. And I'm very, very excited about our event on 9/28. So you guys make sure you go and get your tickets.
Well, thank you so much. You're very kind, sweetheart. And again, it's been a pleasure. I'm so excited about us meeting up here in a few weeks. And for everyone else, I would like to thank you for coming on and listening to our show this evening. I have had the phenomenal Miss Qiana Williams, who is the CEO of Goddess Media NYC and host of VPR Radio, which is Voice of the People Radio. Please support Miss Qiana. And so continue to support us here at WSBI, because we have many more new guests coming. We're here every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. You can find us on iHeartRadio. You can hear us on Spotify. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Twitter, YouTube. I mean, you name it. There's no way you can't find us to listen to the show. If you would like to be a guest on my show, all you have to do is send me a short bio, send me your pic, and send me your business logo to www.wsbillc.com. That's all you need to do. And again, thank you for listening to the show. You all have a good evening. Good night.
Good night, everyone. We will be back next Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Follow us on Spreaker, www.spreaker.com/user/WSBI. View our new WSBI website anytime at www.wsbillc.com and on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram.